Alistair Croft, a man whose life was a tapestry woven with gold, believed himself truly blessed. His sprawling Surrey estate, a monument to old money, now hummed with the vibrant energy of his new wife, Serena Thorne. At glittering high society events, friends often remarked on their perfect union, a testament to Serena's undeniable charm. Alistair is truly fortunate. One might whisper, Serena looks after him so well. Serena, with a gentle squeeze of Alistair's arm, would smile. It's a wife's duty, isn't it? She'd murmur, a subtle possessiveness beneath her sweet tone that Alistair, basking in her perceived devotion, never noticed. Then, a shadow began to creep into Alistair's golden life. First, it was a dull ache in his stomach, then bouts of nausea, and an inexplicable weakness that sapped his formidable energy. Doctors, consulted with urgency, offered vague diagnoses: stress, a touch of the flu, perhaps just the inevitable toll of age. Yet Alistair, ever observant in business, began to notice a disturbing pattern. His worst episodes consistently followed the hearty, home-cooked meals Serena insisted on preparing for him personally, always served with a doting smile. Unseen by Alistair, Nia Jenkins, his housekeeper, observed everything. Nia was a woman of quiet dignity and sharp intellect, often underestimated because of her station. Years ago, Alistair's genuine kindness had earned her fierce loyalty, a stark contrast to the casual disdain of others. As Alistair's health waned, Nia's keen eyes picked up on small discrepancies, a flicker in Serena's gaze, an unusual frequency of Alistair's digestive issues after certain meals. A seed of unease began to sprout in her methodical mind. One late evening, after a particularly lavish dinner party, Nia was quietly tidying the kitchen. She moved with the practiced grace of a shadow, a presence rarely acknowledged. From a discreet corner, she watched Serena. Her mistress, believing herself alone, took a small, unmarked tin from a hidden drawer. With a furtive glance around, Serena sprinkled a fine, white powder into the simmering pot of sauce meant for Alistair's next meal. Nia's heart hammered. Her instincts screamed foul play. Her mind, usually so calm, immediately shifted from "what is happening" to "how to prove this." Later that very night, the consequences of Serena's act unfolded. Alistair fell violently ill, clutching his stomach, his face pale and contorted in pain. Serena rushed to his side, her voice filled with feigned concern as she rubbed his back, whispering reassurances. From the doorway, unseen in the shadows, Nia watched the scene unfold. The image of the white powder, fresh in her memory, solidified her suspicions into an unshakable certainty. Her resolve hardened. She would not let this go unpunished. Nia Jenkins, a woman often underestimated, retreated to her modest room within Alistair's sprawling estate. Her quiet dignity belied a sharp, strategic mind, honed by years of observation and a past in discreet investigations. From a hidden compartment she retrieved a discreet, advanced recording device. Not a simple phone, but a marvel of miniaturized technology. Her gaze, intelligent and focused, swept over mental blueprints of the mansion as she meticulously planned her approach. She knew the biases she faced, how her intelligence had been dismissed before, and that memory fueled her quiet confidence. This was a calculated risk, a mission of purpose. Days later, with meticulous precision, Nia executed her first move. The grand kitchen, usually bustling, was quiet. Serena, unaware of the tiny eye watching from a cleverly concealed nook, moved with casual grace. As Alistair's dinner simmered, Serena reached for a hidden tin and, with a subtle flick of her wrist, sprinkled a fine powder into the pot. The camera, expertly positioned by Nia, captured the act with chilling clarity. A surge of triumph, cold and urgent, ran through Nia. She had it. Undeniable visual proof. The first piece of a damning puzzle was secured. Nia sought further evidence of motive and intent. One evening, from the shadows of a hallway near Serena's private study, Nia heard it. Serena, on the phone, her voice dripping with arrogant self-satisfaction. Nia activated her device, recording the chilling confession. "Soon, Alistair will be gone," Serena purred. "All his property, all his wealth, everything will be mine. You'll see, I'll live the life I deserve." And that old maid won't dare say a word. Serena's cruel, dismissive laughter twisted Nia's stomach, yet solidified her righteous anger into unwavering resolve. The pieces were falling into place, but Nia knew she needed irrefutable financial proof, especially if Alistair remained blind to the obvious. Late one night, moving like a phantom, she discreetly entered Serena's study. Her device, a tiny extension of her will, silently photographed documents revealing Serena's heavy undisclosed debts. More damning still, she found a recently executed will change, meticulously ensuring Alistair's entire fortune would pass to Serena. This was the definitive financial motive, completing Nia's evidentiary package with grim satisfaction. Back in her room, Nia reviewed all the evidence. The videos, the audio, the documents. The weight of her mission pressed down, a mix of apprehension and fierce determination. Her mind drifted to past instances, how often her intelligence had been dismissed due to her background, her perceived place. This wasn't just about Alistair's life. It was about truth prevailing against arrogance and prejudice. She steeled herself. The stage was set for the direct confrontation, and Nia, the underestimated hero, was ready. In the opulent silence of Alistair's study, a battle of truth against bias was about to unfold. Nia Jenkins approached the desk where Alistair Croft sat, his face pale and drawn. Her hands trembled slightly as she clutched the small device, yet her voice was firm. "Mr. Croft," she began, "I implore you to watch something important." Alistair, startled from his lethargy, raised a brow. "Nia? What is this nonsense? I'm hardly in a state for entertainment." His tone, though weak, carried the dismissive edge of a man unaccustomed to being challenged by someone he considered staff. Still, a flicker of curiosity, or perhaps annoyance, made him nod. "Very well, make it quick." Alistair watched in horrified disbelief as the hidden camera footage played, revealing Serena's delicate hand-sprinkling powder into his food. Nia then played Serena's chilling confession, her arrogant voice echoing through the study, followed by the cold, irrefutable financial documents. Yet, as the final clip ended, Alistair slammed the device onto the desk with a furious clang. "Nia, what is this despicable fabrication?" he roared, his weakened body shaking with rage. "Are you truly so jealous of Serena's beauty, of her position as my wife, that you would concoct such a malicious lie? You, of all people, stirring up trouble." His eyes, once kind, now blazed with accusation, completely blinded by his prejudice and Serena's facade. Just then, as if on cue, Serena Thorne entered, her eyes widening in feigned shock at the sight of the device. "Alistair, darling, what's happening?" she gasped, clutching her chest dramatically. Her eyes darted to Nia, then back to her husband, tears instantly welling. "Oh, my love, she's lying. She's always envied my position, tried to destroy our marriage with her jealousy." Alistair, still reeling from Nia's accusations, rushed to Serena's side, embracing her protectively. He turned to Nia, his voice cold and final. "Leave us, Nia. Now. I do not wish to see you again." Nia's heart shattered, the injustice a physical blow. With a defeated bow, Nia retreated from the study, the weight of Alistair's dismissal crushing her. Tears streamed silently down her face as she made her way to her humble room. The agony of being disbelieved, of seeing truth rejected for a lie, was immense. But amidst the heartbreak, a spark of resolve flickered. "He may not believe me," she thought, clutching her device, "but the truth will out. I will not let you die." She meticulously backed up every piece of evidence, already formulating a desperate Plan B. Days bled into weeks, and Alistair's condition worsened dramatically. He could barely walk, his strength ebbing away like sand through an hourglass. Serena, ever the devoted wife in public, continued her insidious work, secretly adding more poison to his meals. Occasionally, her veiled remarks would cut through his haze. "Soon, dear, all your troubles will be over." Alistair, too weak to fully comprehend, registered a growing, unsettling feeling beneath her false sweetness. His life was draining away, and with it, his last hope. From the quiet solitude of her room, Nia Jenkins watched Alistair Croft's decline with a heavy heart. His once vibrant estate now felt like a tomb slowly closing around him. She felt the despair, but also a fierce, strategic urgency. In the dim glow of her small device, she meticulously uploaded copies of her evidence, recordings, photos, notes, encrypting them and sending anonymous hints to trusted contacts outside the estate walls. Even if he won't listen, she thought, her jaw set, others will. It was a fail-safe, a quiet promise that truth would find its way out. One evening, Alistair nearly collapsed amidst the wilting roses of his cherished garden, gasping for breath as the world spun. Rushed to his bed, he lay awake, the poison of burning fire within him. His mind, however, was clearer than it had been in weeks. Nia's desperate eyes, Serena's cruel laughter on the recording, and her recent veiled remarks about his failing health, all fragmented memories coalesced into a terrifying mosaic. Doubt, cold and sharp, finally pierced through his denial. Was Nia telling the truth? Was he truly being murdered by his beloved wife? As pre-dawn light barely touched his windows, Alistair experienced a profound, harrowing clarity. He had been poisoned. Nia had tried to save him. Overwhelmed by shame, he remembered his arrogant dismissal, his classist prejudice, his blindness. The depth of Serena's betrayal, her cold ambition, now stood starkly against Nia's quiet courage. A wave of profound grief washed over him, not just for his impending death, but for his colossal misjudgment. He needed redemption, but first he needed to make amends. The next morning, with his last reserves of strength, Alistair managed a strained whisper, "Nia, please." When she appeared, her face etched with concern, his eyes met hers, filled with a desperate apology. "Nia," he rasped, "I was a fool. Forgive me. For not listening, for everything." His voice was hoarse with remorse. Do you still have the recordings?" His question hung in the air, a fragile thread of hope, validating her in a way no words of praise ever could. Nia met Alistair's gaze with steady resolve. She confirmed she had kept everything, producing her device. Not only did she replay the original, damning evidence, but also new, chilling recordings of Serena, carelessly plotting his demise with increasing urgency as his health plummeted. Alistair listened, a cold fury replacing his despair, profound grief for his lost trust settling deep within him. His eyes, now clear, hardened with an absolute resolve. "Serena," he vowed, his voice gaining strength, "will face justice." Alistair, still weak but resolute, watched as Nia, with a calm authority that transcended her role, made a discreet call. Her voice, usually soft, was concise and professional as she explained the situation, detailing Serena's calculated betrayal. She spoke to a former colleague, a legal expert within her old network, ensuring the meticulously gathered evidence would bypass any bureaucratic hurdles and reach the highest echelons of law enforcement. Alistair saw not a housekeeper, but a strategist, a protector, and a fierce advocate for truth. Justice was now in motion. Soon, the quiet crunch of tires on the gravel driveway announced the arrival of official vehicles. Nia, her composure unwavering, guided two stern-faced police officers to Alistair's study. With Alistair's explicit backing, she took charge, presenting her cache of evidence, the damning recordings, the meticulously arranged financial documents, the chilling timeline of poisoning. The officers, initially professional but reserved, grew visibly impressed by the irrefutability of the case. The truth, presented with such precision, left no room for doubt. Serena, summoned to the grand living room, entered with a practiced, bewildered smile that quickly faltered at the sight of the officers. Confronted with the undeniable video evidence, her elegant facade shattered, replaced by a mask of pure rage and disbelief. As the officers formally placed her under arrest, she shrieked, her voice echoing through the opulent space. Let out, the estate's gates opened to a throng of waiting media, Nia's foresight ensuring a public reckoning. Serena, handcuffed, was exposed, her true ugly nature laid bare for the world. Dragged past the flashing cameras, Serena thrashed, her face contorted with unbridled fury. "You'll regret this, Alistair. You'll regret everything," she screamed, then turned her venomous gaze to Nia. "And you insignificant little maid. This isn't over." But Nia met her gaze with quiet, unwavering strength. Serena's threats, once terrifying, now merely bounced off the shield of truth. Her words, full of classist disdain, held no power against the woman who had truly saved Alistair. The next morning, news channels buzzed with the scandal. Headlines screamed of Serena Thorne's shocking betrayal and arrest. Social media feeds exploded with her mugshot, her once pristine image utterly demolished by the undeniable facts. The carefully crafted illusion of her life collapsed, a public spectacle of greed and deceit. The world watched as justice was served, cold and uncompromising, for the woman who had almost gotten away with murder. Alistair Croft's recovery was a slow, arduous journey, first within the sterile walls of the hospital, then back in the vast, quiet expanse of his estate. Nia Jenkins remained a constant, steadfast presence. She offered not grand gestures, but quiet encouragement, a steady hand, and watchful eyes. She brought him his meals, read to him when his eyes tired, and simply sat by his bedside, a silent anchor in his returning world. Slowly, Alistair regained his strength. The grand house, once tainted by Serena's deceit, now breathed with a new, unspoken respect, a sanctuary free from the shadows of betrayal. One afternoon, Alistair, now considerably stronger, called Nia to his study. The room, once a place of his blind dismissal, now felt intimate and reflective. He looked at her, his gaze clear and earnest. "Nia," he began, his voice still a little weak but firm with conviction, "I owe you my life. More than that, I owe you an apology. My prejudice, my blindness, I can never truly atone for dismissing your courage." He paused, reaching for her hand. "You saved me. You are a woman of immense intelligence and loyalty. I want to offer you a significant reward, of course, but also a new, respected position within my organization. Not as a housekeeper, but as a valued advisor." Nia met his gaze, her expression composed, a quiet dignity radiating from her. "Mr. Croft," she replied, her voice soft but unwavering, "I only did what was right. Truth and justice are their own rewards." She paused, a faint, confident smile touching her lips. "However, I will accept your offer of a new position, not for the title, but because it acknowledges what I am capable of." In that moment, Nia Jenkins, the underestimated housekeeper, stood tall, a powerful, intelligent force, finally recognized and respected. Days turned into weeks, and Alistair, fully recovered, found solace walking in his sprawling garden. The vibrant blooms and the gentle breeze now spoke to him differently. He reflected on the profound lesson that had nearly cost him his life. True wealth, he realized, was not measured in pounds or property, nor in superficial beauty. It was in the integrity of life, the unwavering power of truth, and the steadfast loyalty of those with genuine character, like Nia. He understood the insidious danger of implicit bias and the invaluable wisdom found in looking beyond appearances. And so, the story of Alistair Croft and Nia Jenkins teaches us a timeless truth. Evil often disguises itself in the most charming forms, but the light of truth always, eventually, shines through. Trust should never be blind, and the quietest voice can often hold the deepest courage and intelligence. What do you think about this incredible story? Have you ever seen someone underestimated, only to rise above and reveal their true strength? Let us know in the comments below. Like this video, share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe for more tales of justice and triumph. Thanks for watching, and God bless.